Right now, New York City's First Lady Chirlane Mccray is at the Brooklyn Museum. She's announcing new monuments in the city that honor various women in our history. Let's listen in.
With public art that is going to be built citywide. I love New York, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of New York's most phenomenal leaders whose recent overhaul of Gracie Mansion's walls with the exhibition She Persists, A Century of Women Artists in New York, is just one example of her dedication to the women who have shaped this city. So please join me in welcoming New York City First Lady Chirlane Mccray.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Who is ready to celebrate some extraordinary women? Let me hear you. I want to thank you, Anne, and the Brooklyn Museum team for welcoming us. This is a great space to make this announcement. Last year, New York City made a commitment to recognize the achievements of more women in our public spaces. We pledged to do better by the leaders, achievers, and artists who have not gotten their due in the histories written by men. And in November, we announced the very first statue commissioned through She Built NYC, the unbossed, Fighting Shirley Chisholm. Next year, Shirley Chisholm will take her rightful place of honor on a pedestal right at the Parkside and Ocean Avenue entrance of Prospect Park. But let me ask you, is one new statue of a righteous, working, trailblazing achiever enough? No. No. Are there more women out there so worthy of our respect and admiration that they merit a statue in their image? Yes. I agree. That's right. So today, we are marking the first week of Women's History Month by announcing not one, but 4 She Built NYC monuments. With this announcement, each one of the 5 boroughs can now look forward to celebrating their own female hometown hero. And we are so excited to reveal the names of these incredible women. But first, I want to introduce another fighter for gender equity, a woman who has distinguished herself as a public servant and helped make these statues possible. Her last day at City Hall was just a few days ago, and we are already missing her. But we are thrilled that she continues to serve New Yorkers and help make New York City the best place in the world for women to succeed. Please join me in welcoming former Deputy Mayor Alicia Glenn.
Thank you so much, Chirlane. That was really sweet. And I just want to say thank you again to Anne and to the Brooklyn Museum. Many of you, I hope, were here in the spring when we launched Women.NYC right here in the Brooklyn Museum. So this is a place that is near and dear to our heart, and it is because it is an institution that has long recognized and celebrated the amazing work of so many female artists. And in fact, if you're looking for a fun way to do some more of this and learn more about amazing women artists, there's an amazing exhibition upstairs called Half the Picture, a feminist look at the collection. And I think that it's no coincidence that that exhibition draws its title from the famed Guerrilla Girls poster that reads, quote, "You're seeing less than half the picture without the vision of women artists and artists of color." And I think we have to really take that to heart in everything we do every day, that we are not telling the true story of New Yorkers. And that's why we launched She Built NYC. The initiative was designed to ensure for the future that our public realm exemplifies the diverse and accomplished women who make this city so great today, and we are riding on their shoulders of all the sisters before us. So it is also an incredible opportunity for women artists in the city to get city-backed commissions, right? Because at the end of the day, you also want the women to be making the money to commemorate the women who are going to be part of our rich history. Let's be honest. So, This is such an important part of our work, right, to make sure that we're not just telling stories, we're also empowering women in every possible way. And that's why the Women.NYC platform and my work with the First Lady and all the wonderful women here is not just about what we're doing in our public realm, but also to make sure that women have the tools they need to succeed economically as well. So I think one thing we said when we announced the Shirley Chisholm monument back in the fall was to say, this can't be a one and done kind of exercise, right? There are too many great women, and we need at least one, if not many, many She Built NYC monuments in every borough, because then we're sending a very serious message about our public spaces, right? We're providing unique opportunities for women artists and artists of color to help us truly, truly paint a fuller picture in every corner of the city. So many of you may remember there were hundreds and hundreds of unbelievable women nominated by New Yorkers. This wasn't just a bunch of arty-farty people sitting around talking about who should we celebrate. It was New Yorkers who gave us these nominations. And I'm guessing that New Yorkers are not going to be satisfied until we continue to work through that list. So just a few quick notes on how it's going to work. We have revealed the amazing 4 women who we have chosen, and we're going to let 4 amazing New Yorkers help us honor the legacies of these individual women. After we have made this announcement today, there will be an individual artist selection process. For each one of these women, there will be a separate process where I'm guessing that it'll be mostly women artists who will participate in the process. And that will work through our city's Percent for Art process, which will include an open call to artists and a lot of community input. This is really about New Yorkers getting to express their feelings about how we're going to commemorate these women. And then ultimately, there will be a winning artist. We are very, very excited that, again, we're going to do this in real time. We're going to pick the artists in 2019. The artists are then going to actually start doing their art, and our goal is to have as many of these monuments up and installed by 2020 or 2021 at the earliest. Again, I'm just really proud that my daughters, and please God, their children, they don't know that I'm already ready to be a grandmother, are going to be part of a city that's now going to be able to count unbelievable numbers of women as part of our public realm and as part of our amazing legacy. So thank you very much for letting me be here today, even though I don't officially work there anymore. It's work I care deeply about. Thank you to the First Lady for being part of the reveal, and let's get talking about the women.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Glenn. For our first reveal, we honor an exceptional artist whose genius and social conscience educated and changed society. Her innovative vocal stylings were infused with her love of jazz and reverberated with her pain. She challenged the status quo with her searing protest lyrics and became one of the most influential singers of our time, of all time. Her name is Billie Holiday. That's right, a statue of Lady Day is coming to Queens, the borough that she called home. And what better way to celebrate one of music's greats than with a song? Please join me in welcoming Queen Esther.
Thank you so much for having me. Please give my pianist, Sharp Redway, a round of applause, because I'm not here alone. You know, when Billie Holiday first sang at the Apollo, they would not let her leave the stage until she performed this song. And I figured, this is a lost classic. You might as well hear it now. It's called If the Moon Turns Green. If the moon turns green, shadows get up and walk around. Clouds come tumbling to the ground. I wouldn't be surprised. 'Cause didn't you fall in love with me came true. If the moon turns green, rivers begin to flow upstream. And this is all some crazy dream. I wouldn't be surprised. Anything can happen. You could fall in love with me. Begin to flow upstream. This is all some crazy dream. I wouldn't be surprised. Anything can happen if you could fall in love with me. Thank you.
Ooh, I got chills up my spine listening to her. Thank you so much, Queen Esther, for bringing Billie Holiday into this museum with us through your artistry. Thank you both. And now to share more about what Billie Holiday's legacy means to the world of music, we are joined by the Executive Director and CEO of Jazzmobile, the oldest nonprofit arts organization dedicated to the presentation and promotion of jazz. Please welcome Robin Bell Stevens.
Good morning. What a glorious morning this is, huh? Wow, I mean, I have to say very quickly on a personal note, two things. One, we at Jazzmobile are very proud of Queen Esther. She actually was one of the winners of our jazz vocal competition, and she has been soaring ever since, so we're very proud of her. And on the other personal note, my late father, Dr. Aaron Bell, was a bassist with Duke Ellington, but he also is on the recording that Billie Holiday made, her album called Lady Day. So her name was a name that we heard a lot in our household. But Billie Holiday, of course, as we know, was a brilliant, talented singer. She influenced singers from, as Frank Sinatra said, she influenced every popular singer of her generation, be it jazz or what used to be called middle-of-the-road pop music. And he himself was influenced by Billie Holiday. Barbra Streisand said that the only singer she really likes to listen to other than herself, I threw that part in, is Miss Billie Holiday. So we know her influence there is phenomenal. As someone who drew great large audiences and integrated audiences is another part of her story that some of us know but isn't told often enough. As I said earlier to someone, she was not one to shy away from controversy. When the song called Strange Fruit was written, the writers brought it straight to her because they knew that she would be the one who could sing it with the passion and with the excellence that the song like that would require. She was told by a club owner, don't sing that song. She waited till the end of the night. Her last song that she sang to an integrated audience was Strange Fruit. And as many of you know, it tells of the horrific lynchings that took place in the South, and sadly also in the North. She She also was the first African-American, black, Negro at that time, singer to integrate a white band. A guy by the name of John Hammond, who was a precursor to George Wein in terms of being someone who was promoting the music and was getting the music recorded, he heard her singing in Harlem. And he said, you know what, you need to be heard beyond just what's the audience that you have here. He was the one who said to Benny Goodman, you need to listen to this woman, you need to have her in your band. So she was an integrationist, so she was very active in the civil rights movement in her own way in the arts, because remember, we're talking about the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, so it was a different time then. She died way too young at the age of 44, but she left her legacy. So as a daughter of a jazz musician, as someone who gets to bring this great music we call jazz to all 5 boroughs of New York throughout the summer, thanks to organizations like the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, thank you very much, Mr. Finkelstein. And we present great artists like a Danny Mixon, who is a piano player from Brooklyn, who came out early this morning in the cold to be here tonight to also celebrate Miss Billie Holiday. And very quickly, his personal Billie Holiday story is that when he was walking across 125th Street with his mom as a toddler, Billie Holiday was coming out of an after-hours joint, saw him, and the mom said, oh, what a cute little boy, scooped him up, and started walking down the block for two blocks, and she said, excuse me, can I have my baby back? But she loved kids, even though she didn't have any of her own. But I want to say to all of you, thank you so much, and to the city of New York, and certainly to our First Lady, for honoring Billie Holiday this way. She was and is and forever will be someone that all of us will be so grateful for. And it's never too late to get to hear Billie Holiday. So she is on YouTube, and you definitely want to go listen to her music. So Billie Holiday, thank you for the contribution that you made to this music, to the city of New York, and to all of us who love America's classical music. Thank you.
Robin Bell Stevens, people, thank you so much for all your contributions to our great city. 100 years before Rosa Parks ignited the Montgomery bus boycott and changed the course of the civil rights movement, another African-American woman bravely took a stand on a New York City streetcar. When the conductor asked her to leave, she refused and boldly stood her ground until she was dragged away. She went on to sue the 3rd Avenue Railway Company and won her lawsuit, paving the way for desegregation of all transportation in New York City. Her name is Elizabeth Jennings Graham. She will get a permanent place of honor near Grand Central Terminal in the borough of Manhattan. To share more about the extraordinary life of Elizabeth Jennings Graham, we are joined by a woman who is herself a marvel of achievement, an activist, and inspiration to us all. Please welcome the president of the NAACP New York State Conference, Hazel Dukes.
Good morning. I don't need
Is it good
this.
or bad for you? You don't need that. You're
I don't
tall
need that.
enough.
Right, I'm tall enough.
All right.
What a great opportunity, and let me first express my gratitude to the First Lady, one that I love so much. I had the privilege to work with her during the Dinkins administration. She is just a great human being. Thank you so much for all you're doing, and for our deputy mayor, I'm going to still call you deputy mayor.
I'll take it.
For all that you've done for us. But isn't it exciting, women, that they have taken the time to make us all just remember how great we are. And the contributions that we have made, you cannot think of any area that we as women have not played a part to make, and I don't want to use the word great because that'll be fake news. But to help us celebrate this day, I don't know how many of you, when I got the call from the First Lady office asking me to participate, they said, you know, we're going to talk about Elizabeth Jennings Graham. I said, have I ever heard of that name? so quickly. You know what we have to do these days. When we don't know, go to Google, go to the internet and find out. I was amazed. And today it made a recommitment from me to know that 100 years ago, this 24-year-old artist, she was a pianist, she was a teacher, decided about her rights 100 years ago, that she was on a horse-drawn streetcar in New York City. And because of her color of her skin, she was told that she couldn't ride. What did she do? In the spirit of defiance, she said, I'm not getting off here. And when they came for her, she not only fought the driver, the conductor, and the policeman, reminded them of her rights, sued the transit company, and won. This is an opportunity to honor Black women and their contribution to America. Elizabeth Jennings Graham was a Black revolutionist. At the time, she inspired the Rosa Parks, the Dorothy Heights, and the name Fannie Lou Hamer. And the name go on because the men didn't record them. And today I'm inspired, and I hope all of you are inspired. And let's keep She Built New York in our heart as we go forward. Thank you so much.
So I like to be tall. Never knew about her. Yeah. Imagine that, we never knew about her. All she did. Thank you so much, Hazel. For our next monument, we honor one of the greatest public health champions in the history of our city. As a doctor, she made it her mission to serve the women and children who are too often neglected by the healthcare system in New York City and around the world. And as an activist, she fought to end forced sterilizations, protect a woman's right to choose, and save the lives of women living with HIV/AIDS. Her name is Dr. Helen Rodriguez-Trias. This proud Puerto Rican daughter of the Bronx will be memorialized in St. Mary's Park so more New Yorkers can appreciate what she did for all of us. Dr. Rodriguez-Trias also happens to be a personal hero to one of New York City's most dedicated public health leaders today. To share more of her story, please welcome Deputy Mayor Dr. Herminia Palacio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What an honor to be here at this particular event. And thank you, First Lady and Deputy Mayor, for bringing this forward. As a physician, a public health official, a Bronxite, and a Latina, I am humbled and honored to recognize Dr. Helen Rodriguez-Trias as the next She Built NYC honoree. Dr. Rodriguez-Trias defied all odds to become known as the face of women's health in New York City and beyond. Born in 1929 in New York City to Puerto Rican parents, Dr. Rodriguez-Trias dedicated her life to fight for underserved communities. It was her love for both the science and the people that Dr. Rodriguez-Trias said drove her to the School of Medicine in San Juan, where she graduated with honors with her fourth child on her hip. During her pediatric residency in Puerto Rico, she created the first center for newborn care, and within 3 years, cut their hospital's infant mortality rate by half. Dr. Rodriguez-Trias helped change the way practitioners cared for patients. She returned to New York City in 1970, where she headed the Department of Pediatrics at Lincoln Hospital. Through her work in the South Bronx, she continued to make history by introducing her colleagues to the ways culture affects how patients respond to the health system. She challenged them to look beyond the examination room and to see, fully see, the patient in front of them, to see all of the social and environmental factors that can impact a patient's daily life and their everyday health. Much like her theories on care, her work and achievements could not be confined to the four walls of a hospital. Dr. Rodriguez-Trias was a founding member of the Committee to End Sterilization Abuse, the Women's Caucus of the American Public Health Association, and the New York City Latino Commission on AIDS. In 1993, she became the first Latina to serve as president of the American Public Health Association. That was a time when I was a young physician practicing in San Francisco. And seeing this rock star Latina Bronxite was an inspiration that I hold dear. In 2001, she was awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal by President Clinton for her role as a leader in public health. Dr. Rodriguez-Trias not only became the face of women's health, she changed the face of medicine altogether. And thanks to this initiative, all New Yorkers, not just little brown Latina girls from the Bronx, all New Yorkers recognize whose shoulders we actually stand on.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Palacio. And now, for more than 30 years, the ships passing in and out of New York Harbor were guided safely by a sturdy and hardworking immigrant woman. Her name is Catherine Kate Walker. When her husband died in the late 1800s, Kate Walker assumed the watch at Robbins Reef Lighthouse, still known by many as Kate's Light. During her tenure as keeper of the light, Kate saved at least 50 sailors from shipwrecks. But she never received the proper recognition while she lived, not even the life-saving medal from the U.S. Coast Guard. We will correct that injustice by erecting a statue in Kate's honor on the shores of Staten Island, where she rode her children to school every day. Today, the Noble Maritime Collection, a unique museum that celebrates the people and traditions of the working waterfront, owns and manages Robbins Reef Lighthouse. To share more about Kate Walker's life and work, please welcome the founding director, Irvin.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone involved with this She Built New York project, because it's absolutely the best thing I've heard about in my whole career. From 1890 until 1919, Kate Walker, as the First Lady has told you, was the keeper of Robbins Reef Lighthouse, where she lived with her 2 children as a single mother. Revered by sailors who dubbed her home Kate's Light, in her 29-year tenure, she never failed to light the beacon's kerosene lanterns every 3 hours, all night long, and in heavy weather. A Coast Guard cutter is named in her honor. She arrived at the lighthouse with her husband John and son Jacob and gave birth to her daughter May in 1886, the year the Statue of Liberty opened. She was appointed assistant keeper and worked with John for the next 4 years until his death in 1890. During the next 5 years, 2 men were offered the keeper position in his place, but neither accepted it. Kate stayed on and was officially appointed keeper 5 years later and lived there with her children and her grandchildren for 33 years. Because the lighthouse is located at the mouth of the Kilvan Cove, which is one of the world's busiest waterways, and in Kate's day it was the world's busiest waterway, her position in navigation was critical, and she attended to her duties assiduously. She described the light as more difficult to take care of than a family of children. The lamp had to be lit immediately following gunfire that signaled sunset from Governor's Island. On a clear night, it could be seen for 12 miles. In fog and heavy weather, she descended to the cellar and started the foghorn machinery. By the way, she was 4'2". If the foghorn malfunctioned, she had to climb to the top of the tower and hammer on a huge bell there to signal to the shore that something was wrong with the foghorn. Although the lamp had to be wound, was required to be wound every 5 hours, she wound it every 3 hours and said she did that so that it never disappointed sailors who had depended on it. Her work was dangerous. She saved the lives of 50 people who were caught in turbulent seas around the station. She recorded accidents and shipwrecks and signaled for assistance as needed. She grew to love her job and was accomplished and content in it. There were other women lighthouse keepers during her tenure at Robbins Reef, but at that time she was the only woman who managed a lighthouse surrounded by water on the eastern seaboard. So we're very happy that we were able to save her home at the Noble Maritime Collection. We're doing it with our volunteer corps, the Noble Crew, and we're happy that she's getting the recognition that she so justly deserves. Thank you so much.
That was wonderful. Tiny but mighty. Wow. Tiny but powerful. All right? Thank you, Erin, and thank you all for being part of this exciting announcement. The women we chose to celebrate today each left their mark in history in different ways, and it is so right that New York City will honor them for decades to come. But one monument in each borough? Huh, is that enough? No, it's just the beginning. We have a long way to go to correct the glaring gender imbalance in our public spaces. That's why we are partnered with the Museum of the City of New York to identify potential future monuments that honor diverse groups of women. I'm delighted that Cheryl Levy is here representing the museum today. Using the recommendations of the She Built NYC Selection Committee, as well as the public nominations list, the museum's research and work will help inform future She Built NYC monuments. And we will not stop until we have a public sphere that fully recognizes the contributions of women everywhere. This Women's History Month, I invite you all to share the stories of these 4 women, well actually the 5 women, with everyone that you know. And all year round, please keep their legacies alive by fighting for equity and justice in your own life and in the world around you. Can you do that? Yes. Yes, good. Thank you so much. And now we'll have
We've been listening to New York City's First Lady, Chirlane Mccray, and other officials announcing new monuments in this city. They will be built to honor women who have been important to the history of New York.